I helped 26 women across the globe to become millionaires from zero. And in this video, I want to share with you the 5 things that we worked on so that we guaranteed they will scale fast. But before we dive in, I want to tell you that first and foremost, this is not just 26 women making a million. This is 26 women who have changed not only their lives, but they've changed also the lives of their families. So for some of my clients, that meant the ultimate freedom. For some of them, it also meant retiring their families, their parents. It meant helping their siblings. It meant taking care of their children, taking them on endless vacations, having these beautiful memories. For some of them also meant donating to their favorite initiatives. So this is not just numbers. What I'm seeing lately in the online space is people becoming obsessed with numbers, with bags, with Birkins, with things that I don't feel are so important. I think that we've lost the importance. What is the importance of money? Yes, everybody will say, I love cars and I love jewelry and I love bags and I love going to luxurious places. This is all great, but also, can we do that in a happy way? Can we do that in a way that makes us feel good, in a way that we fulfill a deep desire and a deep dream that we have? So this is extremely important. So the first and the most important shift is a mindset shift, an identity shift. And what I want to tell you is something that a lot of people in the space, in the coaching space, I think they are trying to gaslight you. So a lot of people say that in order to become financially successful, you have to have the identity. You've heard this, right? Or they say, this kind of identity will not get you to this kind of identity. Now, this is partially true. And when I remember my journey of going to multiple 6 figures in the business to $1 million in the business, it was indeed an identity and a mindset shift, but it was not me consciously working dozens of hours to get into the right kind of mentality or identity shift. And it was not me specifically working on a millionaire's identity of something like that. I became the woman who can build success like that, going through the things, experiencing the things, making the decisions. So the process itself turned me into this person. I fear that a lot of women wait to become this, because there's so many programs out there, becoming the one, becoming this. You're not becoming in the sense of you're just doing the exercises and you're doing the practices and you're just meditating and you're making it happen. Of course, that can support and can help. No lie about that. But it's not like you're going through all the exercises to adopt the new identity. The new identity gets installed into you as you go through the journey, as you go through the process. And of course, you can support by getting out of your own way, because the truth is, a lot of women are just in their own way. This is something that I have to speak again and again to a lot of women who subconsciously do so many things to sabotage their success for whatever reason that they have. So you have to ask yourself the question, not so much of, am I being obsessed with who I am becoming, or am I understanding that this is part of the process? I need to allow myself, and I don't need to have it perfectly figured out in order to get there. So this was one of the first things that my clients and we had to talk about that, because when we started working together, none of them believed that this is possible. None of them thought, okay, this is something that is available for me. And a lot of them thought as well, well, I had to do something about it. They were constantly asking me, can I read a book? Can I do a session with someone? Can I do this? Can I do that? You can, but also you have to understand that it is absolutely possible for you to achieve these results without having to do gajillion things, gajillion practices in order to get that. In fact, some of the most successful women who I coached and mentored, they got this success by just being in the present moment, by understanding this is part of the journey, by not allowing themselves to think, oh, my identity is not in the right place to get these results. So this is really important. The second thing was becoming brutally honest about what they're selling, because I need to tell you something, and it might sting a little bit, but a lot of you will not be as successful in business. Let's even forget about making millions. We're speaking about consistent cash flow. A lot of you will not have these results simply because you are not selling a product that can get there. You're not offering a solution that can make it happen. Now, with saying that, I want you to also know that this doesn't mean that you have to come up with the most unique, one-of-a-kind solution. You don't need to be a trailblazer in the industry or any industry. All you have to do is to understand exactly what people want, because sometimes the trailblazers are the ones who are broke because they are either so ahead of their time or they are confusing people. Like, their solution is so complicated that they're confusing people. In fact, yesterday, when I was working on one of our companies that we are currently scaling, I realized that maybe this solution that we are offering is a little bit complicated and it needs time to be communicated and explained, and this really slows down the selling process. So with all of these 26 women, the common thing was that the product or the solution, because we have product based, two of the ladies actually are in the clothing space. One sells swimwear and the other one sells activewear. And with both of them, the common thing was not coming with the craziest solution ever, but coming with something that the audience wanted. So for example, the activewear was very specifically designed to underline the shape of the female body in a very specific way. So it wasn't just activewear that you put on and that's it, like a lot of pieces that I see. It was activewear designed specifically to complement the female's figure, and specifically in some areas of the body to make it look way better, with uplifting it and just looking juicier and better. This is exactly what the audience wanted. With the swimwear, one of the hit products that absolutely crushed it was a similar solution. So it was a bathing suit that was also like a corset. So when you pull the strings of the swimsuit, you can see a beautiful curve. So it wasn't just a swimsuit. We're not just selling a swimsuit. We're selling confidence and a beautiful feminine body that feels comfortable, because we know that women feel insecure on the beach. We know that women feel unsupported on the beach. We also know women feel very exposed on the beach. So we wanted to support them, and we wanted every woman to feel beautiful, because everybody is a beach body. And this is exactly what we achieved with this product. So product, service, solution, something that really solves a core problem. And it could be one. It doesn't have to be 1,000 problems that you solve. In fact, unfortunately, right now I'm seeing a lot of businesses to fail just because they are not focusing on one specific solution. And again, you could be doing a lot of different things, but the message has to be specifically directed into a certain space. For example, one of the women who had these results, she's a business coach, and she went from, I think she was making barely $3,000 when she came to me. And she was all over the place. So first she used to be, I think first she was a relationship coach, then she turned into a manifestation coach, and after we worked together, she decided that she will switch from all of that and she will switch to a content messaging coach. This was the massive shift. And she actually has a gift. So she was very good at writing. In fact, went back to her posts about manifestation and love. They were so good. And so she had a natural gift to do that. Now, when she came, that was 3 years ago. And she noticed that she is very good with her one-on-one clients who ask her about what do they think about their content, just because her content was so good, and they will say, hey, you're doing such a great content, can you help us with our content? So we saw the gap. We saw that more and more people in her audience were looking for this. So we made the switch and we started introducing solutions specifically that were relevant at that time for her audience, which resulted in, I think she had 4 consecutive multiple 6-figure launches. She had huge launches. It was unbelievable. So she went from making 3K, sometimes she will get 10K, but predominantly 3K. She went to multiple 4, I think over $250,000 launches, which brought her to the first $1 million mark in her business. And that happened within 1 year. So it's really impressive to achieve this. So what I'm trying to tell you here, it is very important that we are relevant. We solve something specific. This is something that inside of my mastermind, Scale Mastermind, this is one of the first things that I teach my mastermind clients inside, especially now. So a lot of people started claiming that there's a trust recession and that people don't trust business owners, and that's why they don't invest. It is not so much a trust recession, it's because everybody sounds the same way and everybody is focusing on the same solutions. Everybody is going super broad, and you need to understand that you will become successful when you niche down. And there has been a lot of people who are like, no, don't you dare niche down, I cannot be put into a box. We're not talking about putting you into a box. We're talking about making your message easier to understand and easier to digest with what exactly you're doing. And why should I hire you? Because if I'm going through your content and I still cannot figure out what are you doing, this is not a good sign. So one of the things that you have to have in mind is exactly this. How are we creating copy and positioning that sounds specific, that solves a specific problem? It is not difficult to communicate. In fact, one of the companies that I helped to get to first million, they had a pitch deck. They were just starting the business, a startup, and they sent a pitch to an angel investor that was 1 page only. Now, as someone who has created multiple pitch decks myself, I think this is boss. I don't think I could ever create a 1-pager just because I like talking, but the team they did that. She did that only 1 page. And the investor, I remember very clearly, another female, she said that she invested because the pitch was only, I think, a short paragraph of 2-3 sentences. The outcome, what are they offering? She said, I have never seen such a precise pitch deck. I loved it. It was to the point. And of course, it was my client as well, her expertise as well, the team that she involved, let's be honest, that also influenced the success of the investment. However, she was to the point. She was straight to the point. So I want you to have this in mind. Are you offering a clear solution? They know what's the outcome. They don't need to figure it out. And now with us trying to make money online, everybody wants to make money online. And you guys are very creative. You are offering solutions that are just confusing. I just don't know what I'm buying, and I'm not going to buy it. That's it. So once you solve that, what do we do to actually create a powerful content strategy? A lot of people to this point, they get exhausted. So they've already worked on the product or the offer. They've done all the work. They are absolutely exhausted. Now is the time to do marketing and content, and things flop because they cannot be consistent. They are still not clear on the message, and we have issues here. It is extremely, extremely important that you have an actual content strategy that is designed to sell, because a lot of you create content strategies that are designed to push content, and that's very different. I audit more than 30 businesses every single month, and what I notice is a lot of the times, especially if it's individuals, if it is coaches, if it is even service-based businesses, I don't see the offer as often as I'm supposed to see it. I see all of the trends and the dancing and the jumping and all of that, but I don't see a clear offer with clear positioning, clear outcomes. Why should I do this? Why should I get this? So this is really, really important for you to do as well. Another thing that I see is that a lot of you get obsessed with the content trends. You start and you go down the rabbit hole, you research the most successful content creators in your niche. Good, you should do that. Step number one, of course. Then, second thing that you do is you start obsessing about this research and the data that you collected. And instead of you creating something that sounds like you copy what these creators did, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work for you. So you have to be very careful and mindful with that. Now, another thing is you also have to make sure that once you have that, so we have the mindset game, we're solving a problem, a very specific problem. We have our content strategy. Number 4 is, do we have a proper sales system in place? So another thing that my clients do in order to get the results, so go from almost close to 0 to 1 million in a very short period of time, is making sure that they have a selling strategy. Now, another thing that a lot of people do is they focus on the product, they focus on the journey and the experience, they start creating content, and somewhere along the lines they realize that they're actually not properly selling every single day, and this is a massive, massive problem. Now, you've heard that you have to sell. This is true. You have to sell every single day. You've heard it, and yet you are not doing it in the most optimized way that you can do it. And the thing is, people are buying differently. People have changed their habits when it comes to purchasing things. So what you have to understand is, how do we make the sale an easy experience? How do we provide faster solutions? How do we provide faster outcomes? How do we communicate in our message that we are the ultimate solution for this person? We have to figure this out. So when I was working with one of my clients, she made, I think, around $250,000 a year. Then they crossed the $1 million mark in their marketing agency. One of the main things that we had to solve is, how do we make sure that they have funnels installed into the business that guarantee that they will make sales every single day, or at least they will get leads every single day. Most businesses don't do that. In fact, let me ask you something. Do you make sure that every single day they are new leads coming into the business? Do you optimize that? If you're making leads, do you optimize that every single week, which is so important? These are basic things that have to be in your business. In Scale Mastermind, this is something that I review every single month. So every single month, I have close access to my clients inside of the mastermind. This is not a mastermind where I don't know what people are doing. This is a mastermind that I closely work with my clients. But one of the things that we do is to review their selling processes. Are they working? because selling processes can break. And then the last thing is, and you might not expect that, are you overcomplicating the business? So I had one client who came to me and she was doing pretty good, but she could have done much better. So she was already making around $30,000 a month. The business was moving, but her goal was to do 3 million in 1 year. And we started working together. We were doing one-on-one, but she was also in Scale Mastermind. And what I noticed is that the minute when we started working together, she started overcomplicating everything. So she came and she was like, okay, we need to change the sales strategy, we need to change the content, we need to change the offers, we need to change every single page. Basically, she wanted to change the entire business, every single element in it, and make it 10x more complicated. She wanted way more funnels. She wanted more ads. She wanted more presence. She started booking podcasts. She just went not 10x, she went 100x, which is very dangerous. And here's what happened. It flopped. Like very soon, actually, it took very little time. It completely flopped. She started making less sales. She started having less success. And I try to explain this to people that sometimes really less is more. So if something is already working and it is producing results, you going and changing this whole thing is going to cost you a lot. I've done this myself. So for example, a couple of years ago, when TikTok became really popular, I decided that it's going to be a good idea to change the whole business model and focus on TikTok. Now you have to know that my main platforms are Facebook and LinkedIn. This is where we produce over 80% of the income. And it's been steady and it's been good. And we have a love-hate relationship with Facebook, but it's been really, really good. However, the genius that I am, and when I say genius, I'm actually mocking myself, I decided, you know what? We had our good times with Facebook, and now we will change everything and we will start going on TikTok. That was 4 years ago. And you know what? 6 months of pure struggle, no results. I think we landed just one deal. It was a big deal. It was a 6-figure deal with another agency in Toronto that I was coaching and mentoring. However, just one deal. Facebook started getting really slow. LinkedIn started getting really slow. And I realized that I shot myself in the foot just because I decided to change everything that was working because I thought this is going to produce results, and it did not. So the lesson today for you from 26 women getting to 1 million, including my business, is first and foremost, do not obsess with identity shifting. The identity will shift as you do the work. It is like the gym. You know, you don't just prepare yourself to be the most perfect version of yourself to go to the gym. You just go to the gym every day. You might feel like crap. You go to the gym. Whatever happens, you go to the gym. You're in the gym. And then you constantly going into the gym is going to rewire who you are as a person. The same thing happens with business. Number 2, are we solving a very specific problem? And please, is it a relevant problem? We are in ruthless times. Let me tell you this. We are in really ruthless times where solutions are going to change like this. And you will not be relevant for a long period of time. I literally watch companies that hit incredible revenue and they crash and burn after 2-3 years just because they're out of date. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you just have to be prepared for that. Are you relevant? Yes or no? Then, do we have a real working content strategy? By the way, there's a video that I'm going to drop underneath on content specifically that sells. I am saying this all over and all over again. There's content, there's great, amazing content, but it doesn't sell. And there's content that sells. They're very different two things. So go ahead and watch it. So is your content designed to sell? Then, do you have proper funnels in place? Do you have systems that support the selling process all the time? You have to sell all the time, every day, and you have to improve sales. Sales are extremely important. And last but not least, are you overcomplicating it and making it worse? Because here's the thing, I've also worked with women who will hit not just a million, they will hit multiple millions. They will go into the 8 figures and they will hate it and they will be depressed. They will be so depressed they will not want to wake up in the morning because they have built a monster. We don't want you to do that. We want you to have a beautiful business that works for you. And of course, not every day is going to be easy, but are you overcomplicating it, or are you making it easy and simple for you? So I hope this was helpful. And if you are looking to scale to multiple 7 figures and above, or you're just looking to take your business from being stagnant and producing the same results and you want to take it to the next level, then Scale Mastermind is for you.